in, everybody, to another edition of the Brett Allen Show. Today, we are talking about The Dropout, which is streaming on Hulu television. This is an amazing show. We are talking to one of the stars, Jake Satow, about this fantastic anthology series based on real life scenarios. Jake, welcome in. It's great to have you here today.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be on here today.
Yes, well, this is just a fun and fantastic show. I tell you, I mean, with a lot happening right now with television and those types of things, this is a great show. Let's talk about this project for those viewers and listeners who have not had the opportunity yet to watch this or to experience it because it's such a great show.
Mm-hmm. Well, The Dropout is with starring Amanda Seyfried. It's about the Elizabeth Holmes trial. I play her younger brother, Christian Holmes, who ultimately, as he gets older, plays a very large role in how Theranos progresses. Elizabeth Holmes was I think, technically the youngest female billionaire at one point.
Yes.
And she went broke in a matter of months because her whole company was a scam. And it's a very interesting trial, actually, as we watch it progress now in real time after being in the show. So,
yeah, it's interesting, like, because essentially, this individual made some choices, decided to pursue this entrepreneurial career with much to the chagrin of people around her and everybody else, really, but kept going and moving forward. And then all of a sudden, again, became very wealthy and then very unwealthy within just a very short amount of time. Very fascinating. These true life stories, or I don't want to say true crime, but these events that happen, I find it fascinating because these types of shows really give us, the viewer, insight, so to speak, as far as what actually happened. When you found out about this role and were offered the part or audition, were you familiar with the story prior, Jake? Did you know, what was kind of happening with it?
I knew a little bit about it. I know my family is really into the books written about the trial. I haven't read any myself, but my family was actually quite interested in it. They were very I don't know what the right word would be. They were very inspired by the books written about her, and they would talk about her with a lot of frequency. And I was exposed to it a lot as it was first brought up, like when she was endorsed by what's his name, Steve Jobs.
Yes.
That was a huge. It was like very big name talking about Elizabeth Holmes. So I I was definitely exposed to it a lot. I wasn't super familiar with it until I really dove in and got the part. It was a really interesting story to read about.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. Again, these types of stories, I find them just so crazy and oftentimes so hard to believe, really, on some level, to think that
Mhm.
somebody could do something like this and then again, just in a very short amount of time, lose everything. And again, this story has been very prevalent in the news and things like that, and just super upfront about everything that's happened. But you guys do a fantastic job. And of course, your character is very significant in this storyline. And it has to be a lot of fun to play real to life with these types of things. What were some of your experiences? Like, I know you've done a lot of projects, and this was a big one for you. When you got a chance to do this, what were the moments like for you when you found out that this is something that you would be doing and that you would be telling such a broad story on such a large scale?
I think that when I first got the part, I was more shocked than ever because I definitely did not think that I I had it. Really, I was filming the audition in a bit of a not the greatest conditions. I was on vacation. I filmed the audition. I got coached for it, and I was having, it was a last minute thing, and I was like, I put some work into it, and I was like, well, this probably isn't very high quality, but I got the role, and I was like, whoa, like it was definitely one of the craziest like feelings I've ever had as an actor, and being able to work with Amanda Seyfried on set for those 3 or 4 weeks was something that I could never ever fathom to be able to put into words. It was very, very exciting.
Yeah, and so this was filmed quite some time ago, correct? And we've
Mhm.
been waiting for this to come out. So it
Yeah.
has to feel good for this to finally be out and for people to watch, I would imagine.
Yeah, no kidding, yeah.
I love it. It's interesting, like when you work on these projects, sometimes they come out right away.
Mhm,
Oftentimes, it might be a year or two before they get released, or a pandemic happens, or whatever,
mhm.
and things just kind of get put by the wayside altogether. You've been a storyteller and you've done this acting thing for quite some time. What was it that interested you, Jake, in becoming a storyteller and made you go, this is something that I want to do and I want to be a part of?
My mom's older sister, who is my aunt, she was a very big theatrical actress when she was in high school and college, and she was very inspired by all sort of theater performances. And I don't know if it's genetic. I don't know how that works, but I definitely uh, followed her career path similarly when I was a young child. I was maybe 5 or 6 when I did my first theater class. My mom signed me up for one because she saw me dancing on tables and singing on the piano, and I was a very enthusiastic little kid, unlike a lot of other kids my age. And I just fell in love with it. And through that, I booked my first commercial for a local architecture company, and it was just something that I fell in love with. Being in front of a camera, I just thought was so cool. It was just unreal. Something I can never explain.
I love it. That's very fascinating. I mean, I always like to hear these journeys of actors, because being a storyteller is really what it comes down to. You know what I'm saying? Like you're playing these different characters, you are letting people into these worlds that we might not normally have access to. One last question. Uh, Again, you've done a lot of things in your life. You've had a very great career, but outside of that, what is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given as either an actor or just in life, really, that has sustained you and kept you going?
Um, that's a really good question. No one's ever really asked me that question before. I think that the best piece of advice I've ever been given is probably by my dad.
Okay.
He's always been a person that's a firm believer in you have to put the work into something that you want to be a part of. And not just because you have to putting in the work to something that you don't want to do, like getting good grades or but if you want to actually be successful in something, nothing's going to be easy. And if you put hard work into it and you do your best in whatever you're doing, then you're going to be successful no matter what. And I think that just by following my dreams and putting maximum effort into everything that I do in my career, I think is something that I think could continue to keep going. And I'm really thankful that I was raised that way and that my dad taught me that at a very young age.
I love it. Great advice to live by. This show, The Dropout, available on Hulu streaming, starring Jake Satow, is just fantastic. If you're looking for something to watch or to binge, this is the show for you. You don't want to miss it. Amanda Seyfried and just a really phenomenal supporting cast. Great job, my friend Jake. Thanks for hanging out today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Brett. Have a great rest of your day.